His Majesty's government view with favour the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavours to facilitate the achievement of this object. It being clearly understood that nothing shall be done.
In 1917, Lord Allenby conquered the Holy Land, and the Jews were promised a national home in Palestine by the Earl of Balfour, a policy endorsed by Woodrow Wilson and by the League of Nations, which made Palestine a British mandate.
What we saw at the turn of the last century was the fact that many of the key Christians, certainly in our land, were profoundly influenced by the evangelical movement at the time, because there was only one real form of Christianity which was prevalent in political circles, and that was the form of Christianity which took seriously God's word and took seriously the injunction of the Jewish people to return to the land.
It was an absolute miracle, first of all, that the Balfour Declaration got ratified in the first place, and secondly, that went into the mandate, that the mandate was actually finally accepted by the British government, and thirdly, that the mandate actually got feet on the ground.
I was only 6 years old when I saw people standing on either side of Yafo Street, and I asked them, "Why are you standing here?" And they said, "Lord Allenby is coming down in his horse and we want to welcome him." And before long I could see the horse coming down Jaffa Street, and everybody was so wild with excitement. We thought that Messiah was coming.
The entrance of General Allenby and the forces from the Egyptian Expeditionary Force into Jerusalem on the 11th of December 1917 was in fact the culmination of the restorationist dream, that dream which had been relevant within British Christian circles especially, but also in other countries for several hundred years, a dream of the return of the Jewish people to the land of Israel. And so the coming of General Allenby here in 1917 really was the fulfillment of much of that expectation from the previous few hundred years.
The British entered Jerusalem in 1917, and right from the start it was obvious, both to the Arabs and the Jews, that the British administration was anti-Zionist and strongly against the return of the Jews. And from that time on, there wasn't either a military governor, or later on, apart from Sir Herbert Samuel, there wasn't even a civil governor who wasn't tainted with anti-Semitism.
They certainly were on the Arab side, because otherwise they would have come much earlier. And my father and all the delegation went and asked for protection, but it didn't help. And the result was very tragic.
The British betrayed us. The mandate was given to the British to prepare this land for a homeland for the Jews, but they betrayed us.
By 1939, the Arab interest had become paramount, and the Jewish interest was very residual in effect. It's a complete retreat from the mandate.
Because we are Jew and we cannot stay in Israel, so they send us to the prison. My life, 5 years of my life, I was in prison in Mauritius because I was a Jew.
It's a dark, dark stand on the British authorities. Even the Arabs would want to go mad. A few ships will arrive at night and unload people.
בניית יהודים מלברוח מאירופה להגיע לכאן, וגם לא קיבלו אותם לא באנגליה וגם לא בארצות הברית. זה היה ממש שיתוף פעולה עם היטלר.
I believe that if the gates were open as they should be, as the Declaration of Balfour if it would have really been the national house for Jews, very many Jews would have survived.
It was an appeasement, a political appeasement, and paid with the blood of the Jews.
My whole family is going to Gaza. We came here, the time we were there, we didn't know. Only we came here to Israel. They tell us that nobody is alive.
Britain survived victoriously 2 world wars, retained one of the largest empires in history, but had a negative attitude towards Israel and lost everything for no obvious reason, except that God's word went into effect. So I fear for my British people that we'll bring a lot of trouble on ourselves if we don't change our attitude toward Israel.